Hi everybody and welcome to
The Movie House.
Today we want to talk to you about a little movie called The Longest Yard
And
from 1974.
And you're probably wondering, why do we have mustaches and gold ones at that? These were a birthday present to me a year or two ago from my sister. But Burt Reynolds is the star of The Longest Yard, so this is in honor to him because, of course, he's known for his famous mustache.
That's right. And this is one of his better portrayals. I know a lot of people don't think he's a great actor. I've always liked Burt Reynolds.
Oh, me too.
And I think he doesn't get enough credit for his style and for his screen presence. Thank you. But this is from 1974. Burt Reynolds. It was directed by Robert Aldrich, who did a lot of great movies in the past. He did Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Oh, it's a great movie.
The Dirty Dozen, and other really well-known movies. And he does a nice job with this movie as well. Reynolds plays a former NFL football player named Paul Crewe, who ends up going to jail.
Yes, because he was a bad boy.
Yeah. And the prison he's sent to is in the South, where football has always been a big deal. And they happen to have a guard football team that plays semi-pro.
Yes.
And so the warden expects Crewe to help with his team to win games and stuff.
So we'll see what happens with that. What's interesting is this was one of my favorite movies growing up. I like football, and to me this is one of the best football movies ever made, which is kind of interesting because it takes place in a prison. But always watched it on TV, so this was the first time I've ever seen it, the uncut, unedited version, and I have to admit that I was shocked at all the profanity. There was a lot of profanity in this movie, but for the time period too, it takes place in the South, and there was a lot of tension between blacks and whites, and it is showcased in this movie. So that was interesting as well, especially, in the 70s. So there was a lot of things that I had never noticed or heard growing up. So I was shocked by that, but it's still one of my favorite football movies.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very 70s in its music and in some of the editing, the way they do cuts and things, the clothing certainly, and the hairstyles are very early 70s.
Yeah, it's a time capsule.
Yeah, and it does have a lot of language because it's mostly guys. I mean, there's really only one female character that's of any significance in the movie.
And that happens to be Bernadette Peters.
Right, very young Bernadette
Very young
Peters.
Bernadette Peters.
So you got a lot of guys talking like guys.
Acting like guys.
And guys from the 70s, and like you said, I don't know how they handled it in the remake with Adam Sandler because I haven't seen it, but it's pretty harsh to a 21st century ear.
Yes, definitely not politically correct.
No,
on any
in no way, shape, or
any
form.
measure, but it is a good movie. It's real. It's a real movie. What was surprising to me is when I was a kid, and now is Eddie Albert.
Right.
Plays, right?
The guy from Green Acres. Right,
the guy from Green Acres plays the warden. So that's really, really interesting. I'd only ever seen him, I think, in those two aspects. And so the nice, friendly guy from Green Acres, and here he is, this warden who has a lot of power in the Southern prison. So it's a really, like I said, it was a little eye-opening with the profanity and understanding now as an adult all the race issues that happen. But again, it's a good movie. If you can get it edited, it's a great movie.
Yeah,
good story.
It's a very engaging story.
Very inspiring. It's David and Goliath type story, and again, it's I think a story of redemption.
Yeah, and Reynolds is typical Reynolds. He's a kind of a rogue. He's got a chip on his shoulder, kind of a guy, a tough guy, but he's still got that charm too.
Yeah.
That makes him Burt Reynolds that really carries the day. And there's a lot of like you said, the story's really sound, and it pulls you in, and you root for Burt Reynolds,
right,
and some of these guys,
yeah.
And it's got a lot of former NFL players in it, guys who played in the '60s, like Ray Nitschke and people like that, who I met once at an airport. Who was at that time he was probably in his mid '60s to late '60s. Very nice gentleman. So that was a little brush with greatness that I had in my life. And so I don't know if a lot of kids would know that these guys are football players for real, but they really were.
But you might. Or your father might.
That's right. That's right.
Or your mother might.
So you got to go with the music, and like I said, some of the editing is very 70s, and a lot of very 70s feel to this thing, which is not my favorite time period, but
mine either.
Again, the story, Burt Reynolds, football,
it's good.
It works.
It's a great, like I said, it's one of my favorite football movies.
Absolutely. So if you haven't seen the original, The Longest Yard, check it out.
Check it out.
Okay, that's it for us here in
The Movie House.
We'll see you next time.